We are here to celebrate National Marriage Week. Feel that in the legislature it is important that we recognize the centrality of marriage to the continuation of our culture, of our society. You know, sometimes it is the obvious things that can't escape us, and one of the obvious truths in maintaining any type of civilization, much less one as advanced, as free as our own, is the importance, the utter bedrock importance of a stable nuclear family. And of course, the foundation for stable nuclear families is, in fact, marriage. It is one of those things that perhaps we forget about, we sideline, we joke about, we often mock in our sitcoms. But I will tell you that without it, we are in a lot of trouble. You hear a lot of stories about folks that struggle, very, very heartfelt stories of folks that are trying to raise children on their own because they have a lack of a spouse, and oftentimes that is because another person has made a really sad and tragic choice to walk away from a family that needs them. And I think that by coming here and recognizing the importance of marriage and celebrating National Marriage Week, we can put a re-emphasis on the importance of this vital institution.
There's 2 or 3 principles. I'm going to name 3 principles that I think that the government should look at since we're kind of in this environment today, and then I'll close with a statement. Number 1, the principle is the decision to marry is inherently economically beneficial to couples and their children, if any. Any form of financial penalty and tax policy that masks or subverts the reality and deters marriage should be eliminated. We should encourage marriage on every front, especially in this building. Number 2, policymakers and program managers should encourage pro-marriage messages in existing government programs and already available resources. We should just promote marriage because it's better for our nation. It's better policy. It makes for better bills when we promote marriage. We pay a lot of money tax-wise for fragmentation of the family. And it's time that we looked at putting most of our money into prevention so we could prevent the backside of all the billions of dollars that we're paying for fragmented families. The last principle states, states should recognize that a significant percentage of divorcing couples, especially those with children, would respond favorably to reconciliation and efforts to restore their marriages. States should develop policies and programs that maximize the reconciliation option. We should, as a state, take some authority to say, if you have children especially, you're going to look at some type of mediation because it affects generations. As a counselor, as a marriage provider, I can tell you that couples do want to get back together. They just need sometimes a third party to guide them through the conversation. They've hit a bump, but they're not ready to be done with their marriage. No nation can afford to be neutral about the substantial impact that such dislocation and fragmentation imposes on the well-being of future generations and the resulting effects of spurring the growth of government and slowing the economy. Halting and reversing the sustained trends of nearly 4 decades will not happen by accident. The nation needs to forge a fresh American consensus that rescues marriage. And I believe that that's what we're here today, is to promote the positive benefits of being married and, if at all possible, rescue the fragmentation of families.
When we talk about what is best for our future, we can't reject the notion of strong marriages. When we want to talk about what we want to leave our children, we want to guide them on the path that's going to lead them in the best direction. One of the best things we want to give them is the ability to choose the right spouse. And not only to choose the right spouse, because that's second to being the right spouse. And I think it would be a great thing for Oklahomans just to begin to rally and to come together to begin to discuss what does it take to be the parents that produce children that become the best spouse. Right now, we've lost so much hope in the family room and at the dinner table that most families don't even eat together. And we live lives that are high-paced. Many families are under the burden of debts, and they really don't have time to think about the things that are wearing down their hearts. And no one goes down the aisle to make a covenant marriage with the intention of being divorced. And I think it would be terribly presumptuous for us to think that the many divorces that have taken place in our city were intentional or it was because they were bad people. It's not that they were bad people. They're living in a culture that's actually violent against marriage. It's violent against covenant. And I believe as Oklahomans, we could actually be very intentional about creating a culture that helps support and strengthen marriages.
When you're talking about the legislature, you don't always want to let data get in the way of a good emotional argument. And I think sometimes that happens. The data is out there. I think we just have to continue to make the case. But we have to put the emotion and the human interest side of this. And the fact is, where we are as a government right now provides the institution of marriage provides very little, if any, protection whatsoever to, in particular, women and children in the state. And that's a particular concern, because when that breaks down, then the state becomes the surrogate parent, and that is not the role that the state should play. And they don't do a very good job of it when they play it. And Director Lake with the Department of Human Services has made that point, and a lot of us have made it. So we're just going to continue to make the case to our colleagues, and hopefully incrementally with the faith community and with families in the state roll back the trends that we've seen.